So you talk about Squale as being that well-rounded player that can assist, can set up players, and breaking shots definitely want to keep your eye out for. He might not be as much of a team player, but if you need an individual slayer, watch out for that. And we are going to get into the open bracket when it gets to the qualifying matchup in the lower bracket to decide who is in pool play, and that's the bonus coverage we're talking about right now on your screen. Native Red versus BitterSweet. These are two teams that have already been secured in pool play. Native Red coming in as the number 4 seed. What do you expect from them today?
Native Red, I think I'm expecting a maybe top 3 finish. I think honestly, so I don't know. They stayed together. They were a team, Native Red, that had 5 years of experience with each other, and that was one of their strengths. But I almost, after watching this switch with Boam, I almost feel like he fits the squad a little bit better. I think Native Red is in for a potential repeat finish of that top 4 they had at the previous LAN, and they could very well match their world championship placing at top 3.
No, I'm excited to see what Native Red is capable of. Some people have talked about, like, hey, they're stuck right in 4th place, but is that true? Maybe this is their chance to break through, and there's so many teams really nipping at their heels as well that I'm hoping it just lights that fire under them to hit that next stage. They are primed and ready to go. And on the other side, we have Team BitterSweet. Now, this roster out of ANZ coming in as the number 12 seed, and obviously some familiar names there. Got to shout out Scoobmeistr, had him on the broadcast yesterday, and they showed up for the boot camp as well. Even as a pool play team, they were ready to put in the work.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect the mouse and keyboard prowess from Scoobmeistr as well when we switch point of views to check out his gameplay. Keep in mind that that player is going to be a little bit quicker than his competition being on mouse and keyboard, so keep an eye out on that. We're hopping on board here with Dxvinity of BitterSweet. A hot 86-0 start for Native Red, but now BitterSweet has started the scoring.
Yeah, finally some points on the board for BitterSweet, and they stopped it before that 3-digit mark. But watch out, Manny securing the overshield. Native Red had a little bit of that points cushion so they could prioritize power-ups. Watch for Manny going on a tear. He even has the plasma pistol, so that counter to the overshield is in his control. He doesn't have to worry about the green gun on the map.
Manny with a full overshield to work with. Even after rotating, he popped it on top of the overshield. Still has half to work with, and that plasma pistol is primed. Melee goes down, so too does Ninjestics for BitterSweet. Taulek maintaining control of that overshield positioning, and just as BitterSweet was able to put 6 seconds on the board, Magic, Native Red take it right back and continue the scoring.
Yeah, and they're on the brink of being a triple cap. Luckily, Scoobmeistr and teammates off of the respawn are able to trade out A for C, so at least kind of stopping the bleeding, but the fight's going to go down here on B. We have a player from BitterSweet holding on to the objective, and Scoobmeistr in that crucial position at big door, giving the cover fire. However, that reset was stopped. That flip of the zone, it was reset by Native Red. They have to start over, and it looks like this time, second time's the charm, they finished that cap.
Boam, the last player alive over on that sniper tower. That's going to force dummy spawns for Native Red. This is an opportunity here for BitterSweet. Those dummy spawns, that is a defensive control position that you're going to love if you're BitterSweet. Native Red spawning all the way out. That's going to allow BitterSweet to continue to score, but not before Boamx lands the headshot and looks to regain control of B.
Yeah, and that was not like working with the range of the sniper. That was pure accuracy. Not using the sniper for a long-range battle, but the confidence to line up, take the shot, not even settling for a body shot, go straight for the one-hit kill. Native Red back in control of the majority of zones. It looks like another AC flip is about to happen unless something crazy breaks loose.
And I think that's so important, Magic, that point you brought up with Boam settling in as he lands another headshot for the killing spree. But you have to imagine, let's just rewind 4 weeks ago at that DreamHack Dallas event where Boam was an emergency substitute. You talk about filling in and starting to find your form. Boam, early on in the day, he already looks like he's fitting into this Native Red roster, and he's already on fire.
All right, Scoobmeistr, you do see in the kill feed coming out with the remote detonation, but it's not going to be enough to secure the OS in a familiar story. Native Red, plasma pistol, OS combined, and Boam is ready to do more. Not looking like a sub on this roster anymore. He is 9-1. I hope I'm not Caster's Kersey, but it was me, Mikowski. I got to own this one.
Well, and I think though previously having control of the overshield and the plasma pistol 2 times in a row for Native Red, I don't know if they're able to accomplish that after 24 hours of conversations going into DreamHack Dallas. Now that they've had 4 weeks to go over VOD review, opening strats in particular in mid-game, you can see right before your very eyes this Native Red roster looking much more together than they did in DreamHack Dallas, and they still placed top 4. So this is one of those reasons why we're looking out for a potential top 3 finish for Native Red as SoulSnipe secures the triple.
you know what? Native Red might be eyeing third place, and it's triple kills like that can help them break through. They need to make this look easy in pool play if they're going to take down the best of the best. And right now, everything looks easy for Native Red. They have 15 seconds left and have locked down BitterSweet to just a measly 22 points.
And look at what SoulSnipe did with that Shroud screen. Eliminated the chance for BitterSweet to push through Big Door. That threw off the entirety of that offensive attack for them. And Native Red, all the while, because of eliminating the chance for that team to push through the Big Door, they have a much easier process of elimination to determine where the other team is coming from. Native Red are all over it.
They're all over it, and this game is about to be all over unless BitterSweet can come up with a miracle. Right now, they've stabilized with this AC control, but you can see it's the pressure. The fight's going down at C Tower. Ryuu takes some high ground, which is so smart. Needing that tower control, drops down and wins that 1v1 on Taulek. One of the best slayers in the league. That cannot go unappreciated.
BitterSweet just looking to scrap their way to a potential 100-point finish. Feel a little bit more confident about the L here, as it looks like Native Red is going to potentially close the door, but no, just like that, BitterSweet getting control of B. Boam looking to shut down any chance for a comeback as he locks down the Nest Bridge location with the double kill, looking for the third. Scoobmeistr 1v1 with the mouse and keyboard player, but it's an inconsequential piv. Native Red win 250-45. They look really good.
Yeah, and Boam went 11-4 in that game, plus 9 assists. So the survivability, maybe not the top slayer, but the survivability combined with the assists, even putting down the damage left and right and preserving his life. That's what I'm saying. Boam is not a sub anymore. He is a full-fledged member of this 4-seeded roster.
And it was Boam staying alive, in particular on the B side of the map with that B stronghold control that was flipping those spawns onto the dummy side or the mud side for BitterSweet. BitterSweet was never able to push off their front foot, always kind of back against the wall, bleeding already here, and then just a few minutes into the tournament start. So Native Red doing a great job controlling the pace and presence that they have on the map.
Yeah, a couple of replays from this game. You saw that plasma grenade bounce perfectly, gets the kill from Manny. And that allowed him to still have the majority of his overshield left to go after another fight. And you see once again here, later we see it from Boam, the plasma pistol overshield combo, really showing that Native Red have a determined strategy and they are acting on it. That's not a coincidence.
No. And that's exactly what we noticed in game one was, oh, Native Red, these are play calls. This is not by happen chance that you have overshield and the counter to it in back-to-back sequences.
But they weren't just using it as a counter. He was using it offensively.
He was like, well, I got the overshield and the plasma pistol. I might as well use it, right? Put that noob combo to work, as we can feel that energy almost from that 05-06 era here at the Optic Arena. The open bracket got a chance to walk by, and here it was 11 a.m. Gamers up in the morning, not only up in the morning, but yelling and screaming, looking alive. That was incredible to see. Love having the open bracket back. And I don't know, this to me sort of feels like the kickoff event. For some weird reason, I don't know, Charlotte just feels so long ago. You have that invitational in between. But again, the heart of Halo is the open bracket. We have that here at the Optic Arena, as Native Red switching gears back into this matchup looks really strong in round one. And I always look for Magic in these first 2-3 games, first series. I'm looking for players to settle in. And you mentioned that with Boam, right? And that's why this is such a good sign for Native Red.
Day one.
Yes, day one, he's already settled in. It didn't look like that until Saturday at DreamHack Dallas.
I think that's fair.
So for Native Red and all these teams here to start off, to set the tone early is a crucial win condition, you could argue, for everybody, regardless of who's on the team or what your goals are. That is the goal, is to start off hot, carry that momentum, set the tone, and set yourself up for a great weekend, because it's not enough to just have one good day of Halo. We saw Quadrant win their pools at DreamHack Dallas, and then kind of stumble a little bit out of the gate against this Native Red roster in winners round one of DreamHack Dallas. So it's so important that not only you set the tone, but you carry it throughout.
I gotta ask you, you mentioned Native Red eyeing top 3, right? We know, okay, 4th place surprised us at Dallas because of that last-minute substitution. But now that they've had time to lock in together, do you see them 4th again, breaking top 3? Or is even 4th place in question with the recent roster changes?
I think there's 3 or 4 teams that could finish 4th.
I could name 4.
You could argue
right now.
Sentinels, G1, Quadrant, Native Red. There you go.
Rebellion.
Right. So we got 5. And there's only there's only one spot. Only one can place top 4, right? There's 5th, 6th, there's 7th, 8th, but only one can place top 4.
But here's the thing, right? Of those teams, right? So we're talking about the big 3, right? FaZe, SSG, Optic, and whichever combination you put those 3 is pretty well locked in for the top 3. But there's so many vying for that 4th place position that has been held by Native Red. But here's the thing to me, of those teams that you listed, 1 is going to get 4th, 2 are going to get 5th, 6th. I really feel for the team that gets 7th, 8th placement. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, it really does. When you break it down, there's just too many teams and too little spots as Native Red looks to re-secure that top 4 finish and potentially grow on it as Boam has control of that shotgun at top C early in a team slayer. BitterSweet gets out to the early lead, up 1.
A nice little early lead from BitterSweet, and you know what? The opening break isn't going to tell the whole story, but you'd certainly rather be on the side of the +1 advantage because they are now the pace setters of this game. Watch out, though, as SoulSnipe lurking with, as Grace calls it, the hot dog weenie cooker.
Wow.
Gonna give him the double kill just like that. Not only tied up the game, a triple kill, the potential for the overkill, and SoulSnipe does it. He locks it down. Sentinel Beam is a weapon in the hands of this player.
SoulSnipe cooking the competition with that heat wave, goes down after a potential kill. Trocity in C. You down 1, now up 1 because of that overkill from SoulSnipe. He's known as the objective player on the team, but watch out, he might just land an overkill and bring you right back in the Slayer.
All his teammates right there saw him get the double, the triple. They said, hold up, let him cook, get that overkill, and you saw them all back off the player at bottom B stairs, feeding their teammate that overkill. And that just shows you the level of confidence and teamwork that Native Red is bringing to this game.
It's feeding the overkill magic, but more importantly, it's the intrinsic of the vibes, the morale boost to have that, let's go, oh my god, already in the first series of the game. I don't know if they're getting that hype in full play. It's still early, right? Native Red probably expects to beat BitterSweet, but I knowing the likes of Manny, Boam fresh to the squad, and we talked about FaZe in that grand finals. That was the difference between SSG, was the vibes, was the comms, that dead.
Echoes in my mind, the dead call out, and the stuff, and always always rooting each other on, always hyping up every play.
Energy is part of the skill gap here in Halo as we see SoulSnipe continue to dominate after landing an overkill. He goes right back to that heat wave, a familiar weapon in his hands. You might not be familiar with seeing it too many.
That's the Sentinel Beam.
Excuse me, I said the heat wave. Excuse me, the Sentinel Beam. Exactly right. It's such a rare weapon. We rarely see it.
You would expect those plays from the heat wave.
Right, exactly. Making it look like a heat wave. As I'll save myself from that fail early on in the broadcast. But Boam now has control of that Sentinel Beam, and that is, you got rockets, you got shotgun, and you got stalker, but it's been the Sentinel Beam that has been the difference in this game too.
A new challenger has entered the scene, and we're not talking about any of the teams right now. We're talking about the sandbox. Sentinel Beam is now up in the mix for top weapons on the map, although it is shut down right here. Ninjestics with the Bulldog showing a little bit of that tier 2 power weapon supremacy, going back at it with a second kill. 2 staggered for it to register as a double, but 2 flat kills nonetheless.
Look at that. As soon as Ninjestics got that shotgun kill on Taulek, the cavalry was all over him. They didn't let him breathe. They didn't let him turn in 180 to potentially continue with that, as Native Red is absolutely suffocating this BitterSweet roster.
Right now it's 31-20, and it was off of that overkill that Native Red kind of found their footing. Early in the game, BitterSweet had that 1-point lead. Native Red were quick to snuff it out, but BitterSweet are holding this now to a 10-point advantage. That's, what, 3-possession game? And as I'm looking at the kill feed, it is lighting up blue for Native Red. Ironically enough, they put 3 kills on the board, and they are, honestly, they're just, I think you said it, they are suffocating BitterSweet in the series.
Yeah, and one of the things I look for when I see a player start off hot like SoulSnipe is, can they continue it throughout the match? SoulSnipe, he's actually built on the hot start at 14-4, now goes down, but there it is. He gets the damage, opening break, the assist count to take down that player at the pillars, and when you're up by this much, trades, you'll take it.
Yeah, especially if it means rockets in the hands of your teammate. Manny has 1 rocket left, showing a little bit of patience, restraint. The call-out comes through. Might have gotten a little bit of blast radius damage, but Scoobmeistr predicted that incoming play, doubles back to the back of the tower, saves his life, and it's plays like that as Ninjestics gets a double kill that are keeping BitterSweet in arm's reach of this match.
Okay, just like in game 1, we see BitterSweet with some momentum and energy that looks like something they can build on as a team.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see how they take this little push of energy, now down just by 10. Can they bring it to within single digits? That's the question as we approach the 40s.
Okay, this is their chance, right? They're running out of runway at this point of the game. Native Red 11 away from the win. BitterSweet have cut that lead. That was once, what, 12 points? Now it's down to 8. This next fight is going to be oh so crucial to get BitterSweet back in the game. Ninjestics sitting at 12 and 9 has been an impactful player. In fact, I think assists lean the side of BitterSweet. The team fire is there.
Dxvinity, survivability, a key focus for BitterSweet as they do not have many lives to lead with. 32-41, still maintaining that edge. 9-10 kills or so is Native Red, and if they can do that throughout the rest of this match, as it looks like they're going to have a good chance to do so, as Manny takes down Dxvinity, Scoobmeistr down as well. Manny goes down, 34-43, Native Red. Again, just has to trade out. They've done a good job. Right as it looked like BitterSweet was starting to get a little positive net outcomes, Native Red takes it right back.
Yeah, that was a great melt from Manny. Takes down Dxvinity, gets traded out, but as you said, Native Red will take those trades. They only need 7 more trades to take the game. BitterSweet down by 8 points, but they have a little bit of advantage here, and Ninjestic melts Taulek on the cafe.
Filthy triple there from Ninjestics, and it all started with the bait and switch, flying out, trusting his teammate in the communication to take down 2, and then winning that third battle, but all the while you take down 3 from Native Red, but Manny sneaks out with the rockets. That's really tough, especially when you look at the score.
Was Taulek just playing the distraction role? I mean, if that was the goal, it worked. Even if it wasn't the goal, it still worked. So whoever deserves the credit from Native Red, they had enough of a lead to be able to sacrifice a kill in order to secure the power-up that was that win condition, if you will, for BitterSweet. And now 1 kill left. Manny's going after it. He secures it with actually a double that's not going to register, and the killing spree. What a way for Manny to wrap up that game double positive in this match.
Yeah, and that just goes to show when you have a team like Native Red and they start to heat up, you have to play perfect Halo if you're BitterSweet.
Yep.
And we haven't quite seen them from them here early on. Native Red instead, they looks like they've had a little bit more VOD review. Looks like they've had a little bit more practice in the early goings. We saw some great individual performances at moments from BitterSweet, but it almost doesn't matter. Kills, I'm going to sound faded. It's Faded Friday. I'm going to start early. Kills don't matter in Halo. It's what you...
Slayer?
It's in Slayer. Yes. Kills do not matter, even in Slayer. It's what you do with those kills that matter. Like we saw with that triple from Ninjestics, it's what you do with the triple kill. On Streets, the focus would have been to turn that triple kill into either map control at the top of C or A, but most importantly, the rocket control. We saw those go into the hands of Manny instead. So even after a triple kill from BitterSweet, it didn't amount to anything, right? It's all superfluous. It's fool's gold. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
You know, you love to see that double positive on the side of Manny. I do have to mention, we were talking about Boam in Game 1. Game 2, he struggled a little bit. I think he was 7 and 14, but when you have a full roster where you can cover for one another, I think it's good and bad, right? This is a mixed bag. It's good. Mikowski, I'm just gonna say it, right? You said it's Faded Friday,
Let
right?
it rip.
Let's go for it.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
For right now.
Well,
but it's not good enough if you're gonna break top 3.
It's not. But again, you're trying to build on something here in the early goings of this tournament. So for Boam, right, to kind of feed off your point, Boam now can go into Game 3, and he doesn't have to say this in the comms right now. He doesn't have to say this into his headset, but he needs to almost feel and play out like, hey guys, I had a little bit of an off game in Game 2.
Sure.
I got you in Game 3. And then when he does have that type of Game 3, it resettles everybody because it's like, oh, is he not playing up to his potential? And then he has that game that just eliminates all doubt, right? I don't even think that there was much doubt because they won by 10. But again, we're nitpicking a little bit here, but like you said, yeah, you might take down BitterSweet in pool play on Friday, but can you beat Optic? Can you beat SSG? That's what it comes down to.
That's what I'm talking about, and that's why we nitpick a team like Native Red, because it's not enough for them to win a series on BitterSweet. If they want to beat a team like Optic, SSG, FaZe, whichever those teams they can drop out of the top 3, they need all 4 players to be at their best. Unfortunately, all weekend long, I have certainty that Boam is going to bounce right back. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We've seen him as a competitor. We've seen him filling in. I think that game was a fluke, but I just don't know if later in the tournament they can afford those kind of flukes.
All right, here we go. Hopping on board here with Taulek in a Game 3 Aquarius CTF. Native Red looking to put the finishing touches on their first series in pool play. I don't have my phone on me, but this could be a speed run. 30 minutes, almost like a scrim, it feels like, for Native Red as they're using this moment to build their way towards a potential championship this weekend.
And starting out strong, you see already the pressure in the back of the opposing base as SoulSnipe won that camo, finds the individual 1v1 fight, gets an assist by laying down damage, but he didn't feel confident enough to grab the flag. I think that was a smart heads-up play. Native Red are playing within themselves. They're not overextending, they're not rushing it, and they're looking for their moment to strike. And you can see already Taulek now in prime position to pick up where the teammates left off.
Oh, you got to check your corners. That's tough when you're looking to push out of your own base and you got Taulek like a thorn in the side, and you don't even give him a look. And now, because of that, he's going to make you pay. He's going to stay alive in the generator, continue to provide power and energy for this Native Red roster as the cavalry, the rest of the team, pushes through and takes control of yellow and that flag.
Okay, so they waited for this flagpole, but now they have the position. Taulek is actually locking down the back of BitterSweet's base and can start to get damage onto those respawners. They have the flag at about a quarter of the distance, but actually BitterSweet, they OE, they extend to the opposing base, and both of these flags on kitty corners of the map.
Yeah, if you folded the map in half in a certain origami orientation, you'd have the map and the flags on top of each other as flags are out on both sides. This is a highly contested opening here. You'll love to see this from BitterSweet after falling a little bit in games 1 and 2. They're fighting right back in game 3, going toe-to-toe with Native Red so far.
And Boamx is tossing every grenade. He was running the flag just seconds ago, and now he's switching back to the defensive side, trying to stop the flag runner. 2 kills go down for Native Red, but it's also a takedown on the side of BitterSweet. Native Red have the numbers. They get the full 4 down. The squad wipe should be enough for a reset and the first cap.
And that's why Native Red has a little bit of an edge in this encounter. I'm just waiting to see that 1-0 because they've had all the presents. I've only seen Native Red in the yellow base. There we go. A little too long, but a little nervous, a little anxious. There was the pull, but they're right back at it, looking for the double cap. But yeah, that was leaning. Oh wow, it's a mirror situation. Wow, flag out at generator and on the opposite side of Fridge again. But yeah, that encounter was so interesting because Native Red, they had full control of yellow, and that's why they scored.
Oh, triple kill for Manny, doing more of the same from what we saw last match. Already 7-3, and look at that control on yellow base once again. He's finding the backs of BitterSweets. They're not checking behind them, and Native Red is collapsing from both sides of the map. You see kills on both sides, 2v2 happening, and the second capture coming through as Taulek locks down that top mid.
Yeah, and right now this game's being played in almost like 2-minute spurts, where the first 2 minutes highly contested, and then the most previous 2 minutes, all Native Red, as they've used that time to put 2 on the board. Clipping at a cap per minute is Native Red as they look sound objectively. And we know on Aquarius Magic, you cannot, even against a team like BitterSweet, Native Red, we're talking about potentially winning this tournament. BitterSweet doesn't have those same aspirations, but regardless of that, Native Red, you cannot let off the gas. You cannot play safe on Aquarius, otherwise you will get burned.
Now Aquarius is still a map that goes to that 5 cap limit. The pacing is great here for Native Red. They're running their potentially 3rd capture, whereas Argyle and Kyrian for this tournament are a 3 cap max. So that's one change for CTF that is in place here at Arlington. However, Aquarius remains untouched in that sense. Ryuu here on that return, hopefully got enough time, but the desperate reset comes through. It's Scoobmeistr who's going to get the credit for the return. So a nice team play from BitterSweet in order to stop that cap.
Yeah, great play there from BitterSweet as Native Red seemed to have it. But instead, Scoobmeistr, the MNK player from ANZ, stops the potential 3-0 lead for Native Red. Taulek looking to take down a double as he lands that with the hands. 3 go down for BitterSweet, and Native Red, like we've seen in that early game, about around the 10-minute mark, look to regain control of that mid-map control and push all the way through like a tidal wave into yellow.
Looking like that tidal wave, you know, it might be Native Red, but they're on blue right now, so they are that tidal wave effect, always in the yellow base. Taulek, once again, being that opening slayer, in fact, the lead slayer in the game, 13-4, not only the most slays, the least amount of deaths, and unfortunately adds 1 more to the count. BitterSweet have the numbers advantage, they have the map position. Let's see what they do with it.
Scoobmeistr looking to push out of yellow. Really regain that mid-map control. For BitterSweet, you can't start thinking about caps. You got to play the process. You got to go 1, 2, 3. You can't go straight to 3, as that mid-map control is going to be the high priority for them. Maybe a camo. They've got the heat wave to work with. So Dxvinity and the rest of BitterSweet, this is the best chance they've had to score yet.
All right, let's see what they can do with this opportunity. They're kind of playing it a mirrored strategy to what Native Red, getting positioned at the back of the base, but waiting for another round of slays in order to get the flag run to come through. But unfortunately, the round of slays is instead going back to Native Red. They're holding on to the defensive side, and you can see that team fire back in action. Game number 2, BitterSweet actually had the assist advantage. Right now, it's slightly leaning towards the side of Native Red.
Manny, with that camo, that skin on that commando, I love that. That looks very nice. As do the shots. Yes. Takes down Ryuu. Manny looking to continue with that spree. Lands the double kill. Pushes up. Has a weak opponent. Not going to give the free triple like we saw the free overkill, you could argue, on Streets. Manny and the rest of Native Red, because it's an objective game mode, they're go. I
don't think I'd call that overkill free. Maybe discounted, okay? Like,
it wasn't a free overkill, but it was kind of like, here, take this, right? We're not going to shoot him. We're going to shoot the knees, right?
They softened that up for the overkill, but this time, Manny has to fight for every kill he's going to get. He's got some competition out here because it's SoulSnipe with the camo, doing that camo flag run to get that third capture on the board. Now, credit to BitterSweet, a little bit of a slower pace between the second and third captures, so they are at least slowing down the game. I think that had to do with their map positioning, that push that they had to Native Red's face.
Yeah, we're seeing some good things from BitterSweet, and I always talk about this. For a team that likely to get 3-0, swept, your takeaways from this are VOD reviews. Chances to get better, to take away what you did do well and double down on it, and find what you didn't do well and eliminate it from the process.
Yeah, and sometimes you're outmatched and just slowing down the opposition, or in that Game 2 Slayer, hitting the 39-40 kill mark, right?
Yep.
Give some credit there for BitterSweet. Obviously, the 4-12 seed, there's a pretty big disparity for them. Everyone almost would have picked Native Red, and it looks like they are going to win this series. It's not over yet. We still have almost 5 minutes left. I would love to see BitterSweet break that 0 on the scoreboard, get a capture on the board.
Exactly.
They built the defense. Give me some offense.
I love that from you, Magic, because it goes exactly back to what I was talking about in that it's something to build on, right? You can go back to the hotel. This is Friday. It's day 1. This is a 3-day event.
You lose 1-4.
Right.
How did we get that 1 cap?
Exactly. This is why you're my duo, because you read my mind. That's exactly what BitterSweet could have the opportunity to do, is go back to the hotel later tonight and say, hey, we had a rough day today. Native Red 3-0 swept us, but we showed some signs of life. We showed some good things. Let's identify that and bring it tomorrow on Saturday when Champ Bracket begins, as Native Red beginning their tournament weekend off to a hot start, looking all but certain of securing the 3-0 sweep.
We're looking at Taulek right now. We know him as this lead slayer from Native Red, and he's showing us why. 20-8 in this Game 3 is Taulek, and he's already locking on his next target. Again, assists on the side of Native Red, but the individual slaying ability of Taulek never ceases to amaze me. I told him once that I would never underestimate him again, and I have held to that promise.
He was around the top 20 or so in KDA at the time that you said that, Magic. Now he's hovering around the top 10, and I've always felt like he had the eye test of a top 10 player. You could call it the magic touch, as we see the beautiful shots from Taulek. Camo control there, objective control, map control. Native Red continuing with that dominance that we saw in games 1 and 2.
3 minutes and change on the board. Taulek still with some camo left to play with, on the hunt, on the prowl. No targets in hand right now, but you do see a little bit of that shift here. Once again, it's the killing spree, it's the yellow gen control. Native Red have really prioritized the car side of this map. We talked about with the changes to Dynamos that maybe that attention would shift, but they're staying pretty consistent with what we've seen throughout the season.
Yeah, and a few things I'm noticing when just looking at that top right of the stat sheet. Taulek, 24, 10, and 9, fragging out. When you have most kills, most assists, least deaths, that is the MVP performance. There is no arguing it. And then, when I continue to look down the board, look at that assist counter.
It's
10,
beautiful.
10, 10, 10. Perfect 10s for Native Red are the assists, the teamwork, the communication, everything firing on all cylinders. And really, though, that grouping of assists really speaks to how Native Red is playing together. They're playing well. They're shooting at the same thing.
You know what? I'd rate Native Red a 10 out of 10 right now in the assists.
And 11. How about that? Taulek with 11 now.
Off the charts right now with the assist count.
Wow.
We have 2 minutes left in the game. Still held at that 3-0. But I think the difference here is that Native Red, I feel like they are not pushing for the captures. They're not trying to get that 4th cap. They're just holding their ground.
Yeah. You can play defense, right? I don't love the idea of parking the bus, the strategy as we call it.
They're proving me wrong.
But when you're up 3-0, only 2 minutes left, you can kind of, you can play back a little bit. You don't want to get too cute. Again, the likes of an Optic, they might run you for 3 scores in
who was
a minute and a half.
At Dallas that got like 3 caps in 2 minutes? I want to say it was Navi.
I think it was. I believe so. But we know the record for caps on LAN on Aquarius is 3 in 45 seconds. It was Cloud9 last year, scored 15 in 15 seconds each, about 45 seconds to a minute or so. So we know that 3 scores can be scored in a minute. Not saying it's going to happen here, but it is. It's happened before.
Hey, they got a flagful. Let's go, BitterSweet. Get that cap on the board. And I love this out of the squad. They might be down, but they are not out of the fight. Ryuu wins the kill and the assist. I really called it a double, but it's the team fire that comes through. 3 down for Native Red. And they're looking for Taulek. Taulek doesn't contest. He can't contest. BitterSweet had the numbers to get that capture. Let's go.
Love that. BitterSweet, because of the score disparity, felt a little pressed to pull that flag despite not having the map control or numbers control. But nonetheless, that's that cap we were looking for BitterSweet, where they can go back into the VOD review and say, what did we do for that cap? Because that looked really clean. That looked like a team that could contend and contest Native Red.
Yeah, more plays like that, you know, find a way to stream together. It all starts with getting that one moment, that glimmer of hope, that open window, and then who knows what BitterSweet are going to bring throughout the rest of pool play, and especially the rest of the season. Right here where we're at in Arlington, this is the end of Split 1. This is the halfway point of the season. So this is a perfect time for teams like BitterSweet to turn it up.
And is BitterSweet going to make this a one-flag game? Native Red going all 4 down, all spawning in the fridge side of the map. Ninjestics gets it past the halfway mark with no shots into the suit. That's going to make this turn around the corner a little bit more free. He's going to, because of the full shields, he's going to go straight through, but he's not going to get through. The flag goes down, boom. And the rest of Native Red looking to flex their muscles a little bit and let them know, okay, you're good for 1, but not 2.
No, they're going to unfortunately be stopped short right there, but you loved the effort all the way down to the final seconds coming out from BitterSweet. This was a tough matchup for them. You know, this is against the #1 seed in their pools, but hopefully they have a little bit of momentum to build off of. In fact, I think Game 3 was some of the best that we saw from BitterSweet, even though Native Red come away with that 3-0.
Yeah, BitterSweet got better and better throughout the series, and I don't know, sometimes you say it's always an interesting conversation with pro players. Do you want to start pool play with the hardest matchup or the easiest one? I don't know. When I talk to pros, it's literally a toss-up. I get 50-50 on the responses. Some want to play against the easy competition so they can kind of work their way in. Maybe they got those nerves in the early goings. They can afford to have that jitterness that also sometimes leads to a missed shot. Jitter, whatever. That shake, you know, shake voice. You're like that is the metamorphosis of what these players feel early on in the tournament. And then on the flip side, you start off playing the best team in your pools, and it's just kind of like, all right, guys, it's go time. We don't have any time to waste. So there's 2 sides to that coin. There's 2 sides to that equation. I don't know. A question that we can pose for the chat. If you were in pool play, who would you want to play first? The best team in your pools or the worst, and why? I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, the way that seeding breaks down, the team out of ANZ does come in with that 12 seed.
Yeah.
Native Red, as the #4 seed, are at the #1 spot in their pool. And right in the middle, Native White. Talk to me a little bit about that, because that's the other team in this equation for today until we know which open bracket team joins them tomorrow.
Well, Native White, they carry the Native Red curse of not being able to get their 4th into the country as Barcode this time. Truck for Native Red the first 2 events, and now Barcode for Native White at this event. Honestly, it's devastating. I do not even like talking about this because I want to see all these teams at full strength.
Yes.
Now you have Trey filling in. I saw him earlier. You gotta imagine he's kind of nervous, right? Like I can't imagine. On
Twitter this morning being like, "Who's gonna coach?" Like somebody hop in and coach, because he's picking up the sticks and getting in on the action.
Can you imagine, like Trey? What is he like? He's on the sticks. He's competing as the 4th substitute, right? What, like when he's dead, does he pull out the phone and check times? Like is that even allowed? Right? Like it's probably illegal. You probably can't have your phone as a player. Actually, you can't. I know you can't.
Next level, you know.
So yeah, for Trey, you're gonna see with that Native White roster almost trying to fill in as that player coach, but